Today, I would like to talk about blockchain and its role in the current financial world. Although blockchain can be used in making transactions, the use of blockchain is not limited to this particular use, and it can solve or disrupt many existing industries because of its great technology. Before we start, I would like to talk about financial system and its evolution over the years of human existence. From ages, people try to economize the world by working for each other and creating and exchanging the value. Think of it, if I produce something for you, I would like to get something in return. As modern world works, if I complete my job, I will get paid for it, and then I have the money or some other medium of exchange so I can pay for other goods and services that I need. Therefore, we could simply define a medium of exchange as something that can store the value and be widely accepted by other parties. First, people were using commodities as a medium of exchange. Think of gold, silver. However, this system wasn't the best. Just imagine that you would have to carry a sack of gold everywhere you go to pay for goods. Later on, people or actual government have created paper money, which was backed by the government, and it was accepted by the nation as a medium of an exchange. Obviously, later on, people realized that this system was not the most convenient. And to make it more accessible and easier to manage, banks and financial institutions have created digital money. Think of debit cards, credit cards, or some kind of e-banking, where all the transactions have to go through some central authority to be validated. This system is pretty convenient, but it limits your privacy and can restrict you from using this kind of system, which in case of restriction, you would have to go back to a paper money, store it in a safe, store it in a vault, and take it all the time with you when you need some services, which could be risky. Right now, about 90% of all transactions are processed in a digital form, which means if you don't have a banking account, you are most likely discriminated from using services like Amazon, Uber, or Netflix. This is where Bitcoin comes along, which in simple terms is a peer-to-peer system that doesn't have to rely on any central authority, and you can have a control over your money in a very simplistic way. So what is Bitcoin? So what is cryptocurrency? As I said, it is a peer-to-peer system. Think of torrents, where all the shared resources like movies or music are stored in the nodes that are connected to a torrent network and not stored in a single centralized server. If I have a movie and I can share it with you and vice versa. By decentralized and distributed payment infrastructure, you might be sure that your transaction will be processed as opposed to a bank that the servers were compromised in some way, either through a cyber attack or maybe natural disaster. Because all the active nodes are storing the blockchain history, if I lose my history, if my computer will be compromised, the history will be still present on the network because somebody in Asia have my history, my payment history. It is an alternative digital payment solution, which is backed by the users. If the user base is growing along with the acceptance of Bitcoin by other institutions, then the value of Bitcoin grows, making it more precious. It is censorship resistant, which means that anyone can make a transaction on the network and that transaction will be processed and it cannot be undone. It is immutable and trustless network, which I will be talking about in just a second. So what does it mean that Bitcoin is trustless? First of all, Bitcoin network is an open source, which means everyone can look into the code and assess it. Check the cryptographic functions or the system itself to check if it's reliable. Just think about it. Would you trust someone that says something is reliable? Like when you go to a car dealership and the dealer tries to sell you a car, says that everything is great about this car and you just buy it without testing it? Yes, you would like to test it first. So in Bitcoin network, we don't have a central party, which means that the network relies on itself to verify the transactions. Let's think about it. Do you trust your bank? Did you know that bank does not have all your deposited money on hand? Part of your savings are lent out to other users, so banks can make money and add liquidity to the financial system. This isn't a bad system, and it is essential in a current world. But as it happened during 2008 and 2009 financial crisis, if the borrower cannot pay back the loan, then bank cannot give you your savings back. Just think about it. Another thing is, do you have a free checking account that is accessible to everyone? Right now, for low-income families, it is hard to meet requirements to obtain a free checking account. Like the recent decision of Bank of America, one of the largest banks in the US, to limit free checking accounts. Here is an article from NPR that talks about that issue. When you think about this system, do you think it gives more advantage to rich people or to the people that needs free banking the most, which are poor people? I don't think this system is totally fair. You may agree or disagree with me. Another question is, if the bank can't trust you, does the bank trust you? If the bank doesn't like the way you spend your money on something, they may restrict you from using it. Of course, this might be a great way of limiting people from using your money on their money on illegal activities. Maybe this is less of an issue in America. However, when it comes to more conservative countries, the limitation of this kind of use, this kind of financial freedom can be huge. First, when Bitcoin was created, it was aiming towards unbanked population in emerging countries, where people are restricted from using bank accounts. Here is a great TED Talk video that I strongly recommend to watch. It talks about the use of Bitcoin and how it can bank the unbanked. Blockchain technology, which is a foundation of Bitcoin, is also immutable. So what does that mean? It's just a fancy way of saying that you can't change transaction that was already verified, validated, and posted on the network. Obviously, this can be an issue if you lose the access to your crypto wallet and somebody steals your private keys. But if you are using proper security measures like hardware wallets or keeping your private keys to yourself and only to yourself, nothing can really compromise your coins. I really would like to talk about how the blockchain works, but it is a very technical and extensive subject that will probably take me an hour or more to explain. Nevertheless, I would like to show this video. You can check it out, and if you would like to learn and see how it works, check out those videos provided by the Khan Academy. They are really great. They go into the details and it is very easy to understand. Long story short, I would like to say that all transactions are verified by nodes, which means that if you are connected to a network like Bitcoin network and you are running a full node, you can be a person or group of people that verifies the transaction. Those transactions happen within the last, those transactions that happen within the last 10 minutes, as in Bitcoin network, are bundled together in some kind of ledger structure where only hash of that transaction is stored on the network. Crypto